just wait here for the preacher to pump you up and get you excited about something that you're not excited about before you walked in here. You have to be committed, oh my God, to the word. God says, I don't care what they said about you. I don't care how they treated you. I have appraised you, and I know what you're worth. And that's why people are in certain ministries and frustrated, because God never called you to do that ministry, and therefore you don't have a release. What you mean, Pastor? A lot of folk want to be the teacher in the class when you should be the student. Because guess what? He connected now Moses to his helpmate named Zipporah. And you got to understand, God will always connect you with folk who will not bring you down, but will help take you higher. I wonder how many times we allow our faith to fail because the one we depended upon failed us. As we worship in spirit and in truth, why do you worry about the rest? This week I was, Deacon Thurston, reading a story and came across a man who was worried that he was going to die with cancer. Now, mind you, he did not have cancer. He was simply worrying if he would die with cancer. Because you know, cancer is prevalent in our society. Every time you turn around, someone has cancer. There's been many of you who have had cancer and survived it, and there's been some in our congregation who had cancer and did not survive it, but they did survive it. But he worried, Brother Nora, he worried for 30 years and then died with the heart attack. Should we be concerned about our health? Absolutely. Should we worry about, or be concerned what we drink and what we eat and get plenty of exercise? Concern, sure, we should. But after you have done everything you can do, don't worry. That's what Jesus says, because worrying actually insults God. What is worrying? Worrying is when, Carmen, something troubles me. It troubles me that I can't fix it, I can't change it, and sometimes it troubles me because I don't think I have enough. There's plenty in our personal lives that we can have opportunity to do what? Worry. A lot of stuff we can't fix, we can't change. There's a lot of things on our jobs. There's a lot of things in our relationships, a lot of things in our families. There's a lot of things in our finances that could cause us to worry. There's things in our government. There's some things every time you turn on the news, it can cause us just to break down and trouble us and worry us. But you got to understand, it's an insult to God. You see, Jesus in our text, really beginning at verse 16, begins to talk about a parable of a man who he describes as being a rich fool. And the reason why he describes him as a rich fool is because this rich man has so much stuff that he decided to build a whole lot of warehouses to store his stuff in. And he says, if I can just store my stuff in all these warehouses, I can eat, drink, and be merry, and I'm good for the rest of my life. How many of you know some folk like that? But how many of you know if you just store it with stuff that's going to deteriorate, you're not good for the rest of your life? And so Jesus says that's a fool, because that night his soul was being required of him. He was more worried about his material possessions being stored in some places that was going to deteriorate than he was concerned about being rich in God. And then he shifts and moves to our narrative, beginning in verse 22. He says, don't worry about your life. Don't worry about what you eat. Don't worry about your body, the clothes you put on. Because you got to understand that what you eat and the clothes you put on, you are more valuable than these things. And if any of you know about Maslow tells us that our clothes and then our what we drink and what we eat, those are basic ingredients. We need those things. And what Jesus is saying is that because you are more valuable, don't worry about the needs that you need. I'm going to supply it because of your value. And then he turns his attention to the sky. He says, consider the ravens. You know, the ravens that's flying in the sky. He says, they don't sow, they don't reap, they don't build a whole lot of barns to store up for the winter. But guess what? My Father feeds them. And then he looks to his disciples and said, don't you know that you are more valuable than birds? And sometimes we stand in our own way so much that we fail to see our own value. He says, if I'm going to take care of birds, don't you know I'm going to take care of you? Look down your row and tell them you valuable. Sometimes you got to wake up in the middle of the night or early in the morning and say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most valuable of them all? You got to say eyes and ears. You are valuable. Go ahead and look at you and say, you're valuable. Then go ahead and talk to yourself. Say, self, you are valuable. You got to begin to tell yourself you are valuable, because too many of you have been beat down, jacked up, left in the margin, and you allow somebody who didn't give you life to rip you of your self-confidence and tell you that you no good. Tell somebody, I am somebody. I may not be good because nobody's good but the Father, but I'm somebody because God made me, uniquely made me, and I am somebody. I'm valuable. And so Alan Culpepper, a very respected scholar and theologian, says what this text is doing is basically painting the picture of good common sense, Richard. It's good common sense that if God says that I'm more valuable than all these things, then why in the world would I start tripping when things don't go like I want to go? Why would I act foolish? Why would I be stupid when I know that God will do it this time and he will certainly do it again? If God had done all these things for me, then I ought to come to the conclusion of having good common sense. And so what he does now, he leads us into our text in verse 25, and Jesus looks among his disciples and he says, can any of you, point at somebody, can any of you, here it is, by worrying, add, Lance, a single, not two, not three, a single, not 30 minutes, a single hour to your span of life? Raise your hand, because I know all y'all are educated in here. Raise your hand if you know the time that you're going to die. Oh, whew, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Because you know you always have one, right? No one knows the time we're going to die but God. Now, here it is. Somebody in here, you're going to die one day on Tuesday at 3:45. You're going to die on Tuesday, 3:45. Everybody going to look at somebody. Somebody just think they ain't going to die. Look at somebody. You're going to die. Hypothetically, on Tuesday at 3:45, some Tuesday, somewhere, you're going to die at 3:45. Now, hypothetically, just if you had a hunch, you will not be there at 3:44 saying to God, I got something to do at 4, God. Could you give me another hour and take me home at 4:45? Wow. Look at somebody, they don't make sense. That's no way you and I would be sitting here twiddling our thumbs worrying about, Lord, I don't want to die at 3:45. I don't want to die at night. I don't want to die in the morning. I don't want to die in a car wreck. We don't do that. That's not logical. So he says, and this is what the disciple said to him, says, no, we can't add an hour to our life. Then he goes on and says, so if you're unable, you see the text now? If you're unable, here it is, to do a small thing. Why is it a small thing? Because in our day, we have what? 24 hours. And if you would times 24 times 365, you come up to about 8,760 hours. In 1 year, you have 8,760 hours. Now, we have some babies probably 1 year old, but all of us, if you would take your age, okay, times it, 800,760. In my age now, in my young age, I have over 350,000 hours logged in. Just me. Now, 350,000 hours compared to one is what? Small. Y'all with me? Now, hopefully I have more hours to log in. That's not even counting leap year. Hopefully I can have some more hours logged in. Mother Connie, you what, 97, 96? 97. Okay, times 97, 8760. Look how many hours she has logged in. You think Mama Connie sitting there in her house, twiddling her thumb, talking about, Lord, I just need one more hour. All the stuff she been through, all the stuff she have experienced. No, tell somebody that's not good common sense. No, that's not good common sense, because he says, listen, if you can't just add 1 hour, that small thing compared to all the other hours, here it is, come closer. He says, if you can't do the small stuff, then why are you worried about the rest? Why are you worried about the big stuff when you can't even deal with the small stuff? And here's the nuggets, and we're going home. Could it be, one, write this down, could it be that we struggle to surrender more of our life to God? Could that be that we struggle to surrender more of our lives to God? There was one morning, I was ready to go. I had a meeting at 9 o'clock. I had to get out the house. You know, I was running kind of late. You know how we are, CP, you know, running late. It was like 8:45, and I knew it was uptown Shelby. I knew I could get there about 12 minutes, you know, if I take the back way. I get to the door, Deacon Lavonda, and I realized I didn't have my keys. Anybody had that? They had a key. So what I do, you know what I do. What I did was I go back to the kitchen, because that was the last way. I go to the Keurig machine because I had some coffee. I will go over here to the other counter because I did some bananas that morning. Wasn't there. I went to my bedroom on the side that I sleep at, on the nightstand, wasn't there. Looked under the bed, wasn't there. Went to the bathroom, trying to retrace everything I went to the kitchen table, wasn't there. Went down to the sitting room where I sit at all the time and put my feet up and do this. And so wasn't there. And so I says, okay, it got to be somewhere. I know it got to be somewhere. So again, I went in the other bathroom, and then I went in my I know they wouldn't be in ML or Lamia's room, but I still went there. Looked at, so I went in there, and so I said, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do, because I know the wife, I know she's at Bowling Spring, but she's gonna have to come back and get me. So I called, and guess what? She didn't answer the phone. Didn't even answer the phone. And that's how we are when we panicking, when we're worried about something. We think everybody needs to stop for us. She in Bowling Spring don't know I'm hot at her. I ain't cussed her out yet. I'm just hot at her. I ain't cussed you, baby. I love you. But she answered the phone, so here, call again. I know she ain't doing it. So I slammed the phone down. I retraced my steps again. Every place going. You should have seen me in that house. Y'all pastor was hot. So because I couldn't find my keys. Here it is, 8:55. I got to be at the meeting 9 o'clock. Oh my God. I got to be there because I got to do something on the agenda. Lord have mercy. So I text one of the people on the committee and said, running late. So I'm trying to think. I called her again. Still didn't answer the phone. Didn't have no time for me. And then gonna text me later on talking about, you don't love me, because if you love me, you would have answered the phone. Y'all, I still don't have issues over here. I'm just trying to tell you. So the point I'm trying to make is I go down again to the sitting room.
That's real.
And then I just pretty much says, forget it. I sit down. And when I sit down, I rub my thighs. And when I recognize that my keys were with me all the time. What am I saying? I'm saying that when we surrender, when we set our happy hips down somewhere, then we'll recognize, come closer, we'll recognize a presence. It's only when I sat down, I began to recognize that Jesus was with me all the time. Mad, running over here, mad at folks because they didn't stop their day. Oh, you ain't got time for me? Don't worry about it. But you called me the last minute. Why you think I need to stop? I got things to do as well. But here I am, running, and not surrendering so that I can recognize presence. So when I surrender, what do? I recognize what? Presence. And then, you know, if I don't surrender, there's a temptation, y'all, to always want to control stuff. Yes. Oh my God. As though God is not sovereign. What you mean control stuff? Well, when I want to control stuff, you know what that adds? That adds stress. And you know what I've learned about stress and with stats? I've learned that at least 30% of people are stressed every day. Write this down. 60% of people are stressed at least once a week. And 10% of people report they're never stressed. So if I take 10 people, out of 10, 3 of y'all stressed right now. Don't put your head down because you'll tell on yourself. Just keep your head up. 6 of y'all gonna be stressed sometime this week. And 1, you ain't sweating it. Y'all with me? See, everybody want to be that 1. You can't be that 1. You got to be just 1. So what stress does, it messes, y'all, come close, I want to be serious now. It messes with your immune system. Which means it's been documented and research shows that the more stress you have, it start messing with or start lowering what's called your T cell count. And anybody in the medical field know that your T cells are just used, or you need that for your immune to respond properly. And so you have folk who always coughing. Oh, what's wrong? Allergies. I got sinus. It might be stress. Because what happened when the pollen go away? Then what you gonna blame it on? I'm serious, a lot of us are sick and our immune system is weak because we are stressed to the max. And if you're not there, I know somebody can identify you've been there and got the t-shirt. And what stress does, it drains us. It drains this mind. Can't sleep at night. You sitting in a room, but it's like you're in a room full of people, but you ain't there. Somebody calling you, say, hey, thirsty, what? Because he's so stressed. And let me tell you something. I told y'all, I'm not concerned about people who's been diagnosed insane. I'm more concerned about people who's walking around here looking normal. And in any given moment, tell somebody that's real. It's absolutely real. And so I have to learn how to get tired of being stressed. Come on, raise your hand. Are you just tired of worrying about everything and trying to control people, trying to control things? Tell somebody, I'm tired. Gotta be tired. And when let's watch this, come closer. When we become tired, then what happens is we can use what we already have. Who do we already have? We already have God. God is our strength. He's our source. He's our protector. He's our provider. That's who he is. And so what we have to learn how to do, we got to learn how to ask God, God, show me how whatever it is working out for me. That's what I got to do. I got to get to God and say, God, show me how this thing working out for me. Because guess what? Worrying don't fit me. Testify to somebody on your road and say, worrying doesn't fit me. What fits us as children of God is trust. Amen, choir. What fits us is trust. And I have to trust the ability of Christ to care for me. How many of you believe that he'll care for you? Even when you don't have the sense to care for yourself, he would care. Even when you didn't have a sense of God, he still reigned on the unrighteous. Right? Because you have to understand whether the ceiling is falling in, if things are crumbling beneath you, if it seems like stuff is not turning or it seems like you are suffocating. You got to understand that you're in the right place. What? That don't make sense. Things are crumbling, Pastor, nothing is going my way. It ain't working out for me like I want it to. I want you to just pause for a station identification. Sit your happy hips down because you're in the right place. There was a story about a woman who was hurrying to get to her flight because she thought she was late. Or you should have seen her running through the airport, knocking people over. People like, what you doing? You know, huffing and puffing. And a man in front of her who was dressed in a uniform, she ran that slap into him. Lost her carry-on, her pocketbook went here, the roller on the suitcase fell. And the man says, honey, what are you in a hurry for? She says, I got to get to my plane. Will you just stop talking to me and help me get everything together? I got to get to my plane. He says, oh, calm down. What flight are you on? She says, flight 687. I'm going to New York City. I got to get there. Will you please stop? Please help me if you want to help me. He says, calm down. He says, did you say flight 687? She says, yeah. The uniformed man says, that's the plane that I'm the pilot for. Yeah. That's good. Which means you need to chill out. Because what you're trying to get to, it can't move until I step on board. Here's the question. Where are you trying to get to? What you want to be fixed? What is you trying to change? What is it that you want to happen now, but it's not happening? You have a pilot that's right there that every time you turn around, you're bumping into him. That's why it's not going right, because he's allowing you to bump into him. And what he's saying to you is be still, chill out, because it's not going to move until I give orders. And maybe the reason why I'm having you to go in this place and wait and take your time and surrender and take your hands off of stuff is because I'm trying to show you who you are. I'm trying to show you your way to your destination. I'm trying to show you who cannot go with you on this journey. I'm trying to show you the stuff you got to get right. I'm trying to show you your basement issues that you got to correct before you get on a platform and be exposed. I got to show you before you take flight to the place I'm taking you. So, as we close, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed. But if you've been worried about some stuff, just raise your hand because I want to pray for you. Hallelujah. Come on, be honest. Be honest. Been worried about some stuff. You keep those hands up. Close your eyes. Father, we lift our hands in this sanctuary. And we are unapologetic about it, that we've been worrying about some stuff. And God, I ask you to forgive us because that insults you, because you've told us that we are more valuable. That as we are running and ripping, you are right there in our hearts. And if we just learn how to slow down and bump into you, we'll realize that can't nothing move without your authority. I thank you, God, even through the storms, even through the valleys that we have to travel through. But help us not to focus on what we're going through. Help us simply to focus on who has us, who's walking with us, who is carrying us through. So, God, every hand that's lifted in this sanctuary, I ask, God, that you would touch that hand. That you would touch that hand, touch that mind, touch that heart. That they would have peace in knowing that you are God, and besides you, there is no other. Let them know, God, without reasonable doubt, that it's going to work out for them. that it's going to turn in their favor. It may not turn like they wanted to turn, but God is going to work out, because you are God who's never lied. You never lost the case. You have never disappointed us. You are God who sits high and looks low. You are a bridge over troubled waters. You are lily in the valley, God. You are wheel in the middle of the wheel. You are a father when I don't have one. You are a mother when I don't have one. You're a friend when they walk away. God, you are my everything. And if you never do another thing else, you have already, come on church, you have already done enough. So God, with our hands lifted, we give you what we are concerned about. We give you what we are worried about. We release it to you, God. Have your way. Take it so I can just simply chill out, surrender, sit down, take my hands off. I want peace. I want you. I want your presence. I want to be in a storm and still be able to say, God, I thank you. I want to be down, but knowing that you're going to pick me up. I want to be sick and know that I'm already healed. God, I thank you. Even in misery, God, I know that you're a miracle worker. Thank you, Jesus. I pray for every hand. In Jesus' name. Come on, take those hands, put them together, and say, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. Come on, tell somebody I'm free. Shake somebody, say I'm free. Don't lie to them now. Be honest, I'm free. I'm a work in progress. I'm free.